You know, we spend a lot of time talking about what musicians add, but sometimes the reason a record works is what they leave out. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Dave's Side One. I'm Dave, your host, over here at Art of Listening Records, where every record has a story and every story starts on Side One. Yesterday, we listened to what happens when bass and drums lock together. Today, we're going in the opposite direction. Instead of listening for what musicians add, we're listening for what they intentionally leave alone. Because space is a musical choice. And we're using the album Real Life Ain't This Way by a lesser-known recording artist, Jay Ferguson, as the backdrop for illustrating these ideas. Here's a temptation in music. There's an empty spot, so somebody fills it. Another guitar, another keyboard, another harmony, another fill. And sometimes that's exactly what the song needs. But also sometimes the better decision is nothing. Silence isn't neutral. And unless you're speeding up the playback, you just felt that. The pause created expectation. The next sound suddenly matters more because something came before it. And then nothing. That same principle works inside arrangements. The first job of space is clarity. If every musician plays something interesting at the same time, the listener may hear none of it clearly. Take something away, and suddenly another part becomes visible. The arrangement didn't get weaker, it got clearer. Space also frames things. Think about a vocal. If every instrument fills every opening around it, the singer has to fight for attention. But leave room, and suddenly the vocal feels larger. Not because the singer changed, because the frame changed. Here's another trick. Notice the instrument that isn't there yet. Maybe the guitar hasn't entered. Maybe the drums are restrained. Maybe the harmony waits. Maybe the keyboard part is being held back. And then it arrives. That entrance can feel bigger because the arrangement made you wait for it. That's the job of space. It builds, not by adding more immediately, but by delaying the addition. Restraint creates contrast. Contrast creates impact. If everything starts at maximum size, there's nowhere for the song to go. We usually think of dynamics as loud and quiet, but density matters too. How many things are happening? How busy are they? How much room is left? A section can be loud and still feel spacious. A section can be quiet and still feel crowded. That's worth listening for. And ultimately, space requires confidence. The musicians have to trust the song, trust the vocal, trust the groove, trust that the listener doesn't need constant stimulation. A confident arrangement can let a moment exist without decorating it. That's what makes this Jay Ferguson album useful for today's exercise. Don't listen only for the most noticeable part. Listen for the decisions around it. Who stays out? Who enters late? Where does the arrangement breathe? Where does the density change? And ask whether the song got stronger because somebody chose restraint. So for tonight's Side 1 test, let's enter into the space test. What does the arrangement remove so something else can be heard? What part becomes stronger because there's room around it? What is held back so a later entrance has more impact? Where does the arrangement simply let the song stand? That's the space test. So try this tonight. Put on a record you know And instead of asking what's playing, ask what isn't playing. Where is the guitar absent? Where do the drums pull back? Where does the harmony wait? Where is there an actual pause? Then notice what happens when the empty space finally gets filled. Now here's my verdict. That's the lesson I take from Real Life Ain't This Way. Good arrangement isn't just deciding what belongs. It's deciding what doesn't need to be there. Space isn't what's missing from the arrangement. Space is part of the arrangement. So on tonight's Side One Spin, I ask you, what record gets stronger because the musicians know when not to play? Come back and tell me the artist. Come back and tell me the album, and tell me where the space matters for you. Tomorrow, we finish this week by putting everything back together, because a song and a recording are not the same thing. Well, that's it for today's Side One. Thanks again for spending a little time with me. Please keep that needle in the groove and listen to the space. We will talk to you tomorrow.